Welcome back. This is the second lesson recording for IM1 week 6 of distance learning. Now that we've solved some simple absolute value equations through warm-up, we're going to tackle more complicated absolute value equations. So to do that, I am going to try to solve 4 minus 3 absolute value of 2x plus 3 is equal to negative 11. We've solved problems like this last lesson, but we didn't spend too much time on it because we ran out of time. So I am going to spend a little bit more time on this time. Okay, so when you have a problem like this, the first thing you should notice is that there is my absolute value expression, but it's not isolated. We have this negative 3 here and this 4 here, okay, around the absolute value expression. So first thing you should be thinking is we need to isolate the absolute value expression. So we need to isolate absolute value expression first. That means we want it to become absolute value of something is equal to, with nothing else around. So we need to somehow get rid of 4 and negative 3. Now let's think about this 4 and negative 3. What is 4 doing to the absolute value expression and what is negative 3 doing to the absolute value expression? They're doing something very different, okay? If you're thinking that you're adding 4, 3 is being subtracted from this, that is not correct because there is a multiplication sign right there. It's a default, right? If you have a problem like this, if you have 4 minus 3 times x is equal to negative 11, this negative 3 is being multiplied to x. It's not subtracting 3 from x, right? While as 4 is being added to the x. So in this case, what did you do? You would try to subtract 4 first to get rid of that 4. So same thing, we're going to get rid of 4 from both sides of the equal sign by subtracting 4, which leaves us with negative 3 times 2x plus 3 all in absolute value function. Negative 11 minus 4 is negative 15. Okay? All right. Now again, negative 3. What is negative 3 doing to the absolute value function? It's multiplying. Therefore, to undo multiply, we need to divide everything by negative 3. If I do it to one side of the equal sign, I need to do it to the other side. And these two cancels out, and you're now left with absolute value of 2x plus 3 is equal to 15 divided by 3 is just 5. Negative divided by negative is positive, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay, now it looks like it's something that we can deal with, okay? We have absolute value function expression isolated on one side of the equal sign with a number on the other side. So now we know that what's inside could be positive or it could be negative. So let's start by saying that 2x plus 3 is positive 5, or possibly 2x plus 3 is negative 5. And then from here, we just need to solve. We're going to subtract 3 from both sides, and that leaves us with 2x is equal to 5 minus 3 is just going to be 2. And divide both sides by 2, and so x is equal to 1. That's my one solution. And let's do the other side. Minus 3 to both sides, and in this case 2x is negative 8. Divide both sides by 2, and x is negative 4. That's my second solution. Okay, and then now that we've got two solutions, we're not done. We need to go through the checking. All right, let's check to see if x is equal to 1 would work. So let's check with x is equal to 1. So then substitute 4 minus 3 times absolute value of 2 times instead of x, I am going to use 1 plus 3. Is that equal to negative 11? That's the question. Okay, 4 minus 3. We can't do anything with 4 yet. 4 minus 3. We can't do anything with the 3 yet either. 2 times 1 is just 2, plus 3 is equal to 11, negative 11. What's 2 plus 3? That's absolute value of 5, minus 3, plus 4. Everything else stays the same. And then what is absolute value of 5? That's just 5, right? So 4 minus 3 times, just now I've gotten rid of the absolute value function, and is 11. So 3 times 5 is negative 15. 4 minus 15 is indeed 11. So that checks out. What about the other solution? X is negative 4. Let's substitute into the equation 4 minus 3 times 2 times negative 4 plus 3, absolute value of is equal to negative 11. So that simplifies to 4 minus 3. What's 2 times negative 4? Negative 8 plus 3 is equal to negative 11. 4 minus 3 times, what's negative 8 plus 3? That's negative 5. And 4 minus 3 times, what's absolute value of negative 5? That's just going to be 5. Now at this point, I've gotten rid of the absolute value function by applying that principle. Okay, so then it becomes 4 minus 3 times 5 is 15. And 4 minus 15 indeed is negative 11. So that checks out. Okay, now we've solved it and checked our answers. Okay, I am going to give you a practice problem. So the practice problem you're going to be doing is half times absolute value of 3x minus 4 is minus 7 is equal to 4. Please pause the video and see if you can solve this now. Alright, so let's go through the answers. I am assuming you have done the work. Okay, so again, half is being multiplied to the expression, while 7 is being subtracted from the absolute value expression. So we need to get rid of the 7 first. We add 7 to both sides, and that leaves us with half times absolute value of 3x minus 4 is equal to 4 plus 7 is 11. And then from here, I know that half is being multiplied to it. I still need to get rid of this half. How can I get rid of this half? I can multiply both sides by 2. So then this goes away, and you are left with absolute value of 3x minus 4 is equal to 22. Okay, from here, I have isolated the absolute value function to be equal to some number. Now I can separate into two different equations. 3x minus 4 is equal to 22, and 3x minus 4 is equal to negative 22. And then from here, solve it as you would. And that leaves us with 3x is equal to 26, and divide both sides by 3. So x is 26 over 3. Now you need to be asking yourself, can I simplify this fraction anymore? Well, 26 is it evenly divisible by 3? It's not. So I am just going to leave it as an improper fraction at this point, because it's going to make my checking a whole lot easier if I do. Let's do the other one. So add 4 to both sides, and 3x is equal to negative 22 plus 4 is negative 18. Divide both sides by 3. And that leaves us with x is equal to, what's 18 divided by 3? Divides evenly to 6, and we have negative sign. Okay? Alright, so we have two solutions. Negative 6 and 26 over 3 are my two solutions, but we need to check. So we need to be checking. Okay, so let's check x is negative 6 first. So that's going to be half times 3 times negative 6 minus 4 minus 7 is equal to 4. Is that so? Well, 3 times negative 6 is going to be negative 18 minus 4. And we still have a half outside the absolute value function. And minus 7 there is equal to 4. What's negative 18 minus 4? Negative 22. What's absolute value of negative 22? That's just positive 22. So, and half of 22 is just 11 minus 7. And that just works out to be 4 is equal to 4. And that checks out. Okay, notice that I am not skipping steps. And it is very logical from one line to the next line to the next line. I am saying this line is equivalent to this, is equivalent to this, so on. Okay, that is how you should be showing your work as well. All right, let's check the other solution. X is equal to 26 over 3. I know some of you are really afraid of fractions, but it's really not that bad once you get used to working with it. And the homework is going to require you to do a whole lot more manipulation with fractions and decimal, because you do need that skill for IM2. So 3 times 26 divide by 3. Again, if you multiply by some number and then divide by the same number again, you can say that they cancel each other out. And so 26 minus 4, absolute value, and half times that minus 7 is equal to 4. And 26 minus 4, that is just 22. Absolute value of 22 times half minus 7 is equal to 4. What's absolute value of 22? That's just 22. And I'm writing it in parentheses because I've applied the absolute value function now. And so then half of 22 is 11 minus 7 is equal to 4. And that turns out to be 4 is equal to 4. So that checks out. So those are my solutions. Okay, I am going to do one more example before this recording is over. If I have solved for x, 6 plus 5 times 2x minus 5 is equal to negative 8. How would I solve this? Again, there are a whole lot of things around that I need to get rid of first. I have to get rid of this positive 5 and positive 6. Okay, but so then if I do that, first thing I need to do is get rid of this 6 by subtracting 6 from both sides. And that leaves us with 5 times 2x minus 5 is equal to, what's negative 8 divided by, subtract 6, negative 14. And then I know that 5 is being multiplied to it, so I need to divide both sides by 5, positive 5. And that leaves us with 2x minus 5, absolute value of is equal to negative 14 over 5. Now you need to be asking yourself all the time, can I ever get this negative number as a result of applying absolute value function? So can absolute value of an expression ever be negative? Can it ever be negative? No, it's never. So that means there is no solution to this one. Okay? All right. I'm going to stop it right here. And the last recording will cover the next two examples.